ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहं। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। We are back in Lanka, and Kumbhakarna has stepped out of the ramparts of Lanka. And Valmiki tells us, as Kumbhakarna stepped across the boundary wall, everyone else has to go through gates. This guy steps out of the over the wall, which means the wall is so small in comparison to Kumbhakarna. But in compared to the Vanaras, in comparison, the boundary wall is very, very high. Otherwise, they would have also walked up. And monkeys can jump, and yet they were not able to cross the boundary wall just yet. So Kumbhakarna just steps over it, and when he puts his foot on the ground, he yells out this loud roar by which the entire earth shakes, the mountains also shake, as if the entire army is going to be just swallowed by him in a moment. And Kumbhakarna, with his fiery eyes, looked as if he's going to devour everybody. He looked like Indra holding a thunderbolt. He looked like Yamaraj, the god of death, and Varuna, because he's the lord of waters. When a flood comes, you can't run. There are some examples of people who came to know about the tsunami, and they saw a wave rising far, and they didn't know what it was. And by the time they realized it, they were running. But the water moves with such speed that even if they ran very fast, the water would hit them. And it's not just water, it's a gigantic wave. That's how Kumbhakarna appeared. And just as they saw Kumbhakarna, the Vanaras just ran in whatever direction. They were not even thinking what direction to run in. They turned around and they ran. They were running with such intensity that there was a stampede. They were stepping on each other, trying to save their lives, running away. What happens if Kumbhakarna will catch me? So Angada, who's the prince, the leader of the entire Vanara army, sees them running away. And in the middle of the battlefield, he tells them, please, please, don't go like this. Hmm? And some of the generals that are there, like Neela, Nala, Gavaksha, Kumuda, he told all of them, have you forgotten what kind of lineage you're coming from? Each one of you, your fathers, forefathers are great, great Vanaras. How can you turn around and run away like that? As if you're some ordinary monkeys. Please, please. And you're in war. Why are you defending your life? That's what a war means. I mean, if you have soldiers who go to the line of fire and suddenly look at the army, turn around and run away, then that's not a soldier. In Mahabharata, when the son of Virata said, I will fight the Kauravas, and at that time Arjuna was still Brahannala. And so Arjuna became the chariot driver, and this young prince, the son of Maharaj Virat is a small kingdom compared to a mighty Kuru dynasty sitting in Hastinapura. He had only heard about their names but never really saw them. And when he saw the chariot of Duryodhana, Bhishma, Dushasana, Karna, Drona, Ashwatthama, he got so scared. It's a live forum, but you can imagine, I won't use the terms. He almost, turned around and ran away. So Arjuna had to go after him and said, why are you running away? You're a Kshatriya prince. He said, no, no, I cannot stand and fight these great, great generals. So after Angada spoke, these generals became a little confident and turned back, got their groups of monkeys to also turn back and somehow face and go towards Kumbhakarna. And Kumbhakarna, as he's walking, just plucking peaks of mountains and trees and walking. And these monkeys are also picking up because they only have no weapons, so they're only picking rocks, boulders, mountain peaks, trees, and they were throwing at Kumbhakarna. For Kumbhakarna, they all felt like someone's throwing flowers at him. They didn't even impact him. No, at all, anything. He didn't even feel. And as the rocks were hitting Kumbhakarna's body, the rocks were breaking into small pieces. Hmm. So Kumbhakarna became angry. Oh, you have the guts to stand in front of me. And he started ravaging over the monkeys. And then he started crushing them, punching them, picking them up. And he started beating them so badly that the monkeys were just falling in hundreds and hundreds onto the ground, their bodies covered with blood because they were vomiting blood. And the whole thing looked like these in India you have these gulmohar trees that have red color on the top. The flowers are red, so it looked like tree gulmohar trees fallen on the ground. The monkeys got up, they started running. Some ran forward, some ran sideways, some dropped into the ocean. They were just running. They didn't even care that this is the shore. From this, there is the ocean. They looked at Kumbhakarna and said, better to die in the ocean. Just jumped into the ocean. Okay, so they were running from here and there, and the bears climbed up the trees. Some monkeys just went away. Some monkeys' face became pale. The shock of seeing the size and the dominion of Kumbhakarna. Some monkeys and bears jumped into the ocean, got drowned there. Some could not even stand firmly. Their knees became weak. Some just fell flat on the ground out of shock and fear. And some just lay down on the ground, stretched, imitating as if they are dead. Because if they are alive, then Kumbhakarna will eat them or kill them. Again, Angada said to all of them, we will fight. Don't run away. We are all here to fight. Come back. Come back. And he says, I don't see why you would run. You're anyway jumping into the ocean and killing yourself. It doesn't make any sense. Come back. We are here to fight on behalf of Sugriva. And you would rather die a hero's death than run away and be a coward. You're all great, great monkeys. You're coming from great lineages. You run away like this, dishonor will come to you. We've heard this, right? When Arjuna, coming from such a great lineage, said, oh, Krishna, I don't want to fight this war. And Krishna tells Arjuna, he refers to him as uh, Bharata. That means from your father's side, you're coming from the lineage of King Bharata. And on your mother's side, Kaunteya, look at Kunti. She is the daughter of all these great kings. The lineage from her side is also very, very great. So your Kaunteya on this side, Bharata on this side. How can you run away, Arjuna? So Sir Angada is telling them, why are you going away? What happened to the, you were all pounding your chests and say, we will kill Ravana, and now suddenly all that bravery has just vanished? Hmm? People will say, oh, these are the cowards, the monkeys, the vanaras. They're all cowards, and for a Kshatriya, for they're not Kshatriyas, but for a hero, dishonor is worse than death. You will be dishonored. What we should do is kill this enemy in battle and become glorious. On the other hand, if the enemy kills us, then also we will become glorious. Very much like the Bhagavad Gita answer that Krishna is giving Arjuna in the first and second chapter. And he's assuring the monkeys that if this Kumbhakarna ever comes face to face with Sri Ramachandra, he will not be alive. However big and mighty he might be, you should see how wonderful Ramachandra is. This reminds me sometimes, one Vaishnava had told, and I've said this in different forums. People go to temple, and that particular devotee was saying that people go to the temple, stand in front of the deity, and will tell the deity, I am being harassed by this big problem. I'm being harassed by that big problem. My problems are very big. And one comes to the Lord. And the devotee was saying, in fact, you should go to the difficulties and say, behind me is standing the big Sri Rama. Behind me is standing Krishna. They are much bigger than my problems. They're more powerful than my problems. Behind me are Kishore Kishori. That they, when one faces that way, then the problems look smaller. But when you turn away and go running to the deity, it's not that we should not go to this. That's not the point. But the issue is go to your problems and tell them how big the Krishna standing behind you is who can help you. So Angada is telling them, don't run. And still, while he's giving his speech, they're all running here and there, running here and there. They're not listening. So then Angada became very upset. Hmm. He got all of them back. So he gathered Rishabha, Sharabha, Mainda, Dhumra, Nila, Kumuda, Sushena, Gavaksha, Rambha, Tara, Dvivida, Panasa, and Hanuman, and told them, bring everybody back. And so then they turned around and gathered their troops and marched back towards Kumbhakarna. Now, Kumbhakarna saw all these monkeys on one hand, they're running away, and then there's this Angada telling them, so they all turned back and coming back to fight because they all got inspired by Angada's speech. Angada is a great motivator. So then Kumbhakarna uh, raised his big gada, and he saw and he started hitting the monkeys with his gada. And when Kumbhakarna once hit with his gada, at one shot, uh, 8,700 monkeys died just with one crush. That was his power. So he was swinging his gada, and each time 8,700 some monkeys were dying. Then he would fold his arms and pick up the monkeys, and it would each grab, sometimes Valmiki says 16, sometimes 8, sometimes 10, 20, sometimes even 30 monkeys. He would just grab them and eat them, just as somebody eats French fries. Once in a while, you take one or two, some take three or four, and he was just gorging himself with monkeys. Just, and Valmiki says the way he was picking up these monkeys, the Vanaras, is just like Garuda who picks up snakes, mercilessly, quickly, deftly. So then Dvivida, we know Dvivida from the Bhagavatam as well. At that time, they were Dvivida, who was mighty, big, strong. He ran towards Kumbhakarna. And while he was running, uh, Dvivida picked up a mountain peak. and he flung it. Now, Mountain Peak is not some small rock. It's mighty peak. So you can imagine how big Dvivida is, and compare to him how big Kumbhakarna is. So when he threw that Mountain Peak, uh, Kumbhakarna deflected it, so he missed hitting him. But the rock, the mountain went and fell on the Rakshasas behind. And so that mountain peak crushed horses, elephants, chariots, and so many Rakshasas. But Kumbhakarna dodged it. And horses, charioteers, chariot drivers, the whole place was splattered by the blood of Rakshasas because of Dvivida's might. So the monkey Vanrachi started running even more behind towards Kumbhakarna. Then Hanuman was hovering in the air, picked up mountain peaks, rocks, and trees, and started flinging them at Kumbhakarna. And as they are coming towards Kumbhakarna, Kumbhakarna is carrying a spear or javelin, and he was with that hitting those mountain peaks and trees and smashing them into small pieces of rock. And then what he did, he took his javelin and he threw it at Hanuman. What happened is the javelin hit Hanuman right in the middle of his chest. And when it hit Hanuman, Hanuman vomited blood and fat, flesh and fat, and just fell on the ground. And the example given is just the way the son of Lord Shiva, Kartikeya, he struck the Krauncha mountain. Apparently, there's a story that I'm not aware, and the Krauncha mountain had split. So, like this, Hanuman, uh, spitting out blood for a moment, became reeled by that force. So Kumbhakarna became more energized, and the Rakshasa started emitting a cry because they had seen Hanuman before, and the havoc Hanuman had created in Lanka by burning it down. And no one could catch him and bring him under control. But one strike of Kumbhakarna, and Hanuman spitting blood and almost losing consciousness for 2 minutes, the Rakshasa started loudly shouting and like, oh, this Hanuman will become victorious. So Kumbhakarna is moving forward. So Neela, who's also there, uh, he picked up mountain peaks and he started throwing at Kumbhakarna. At that time, Rishabha, Sharabha, Neela, Gavaksha, Gandhamadana, now they all collectively attacked Kumbhakarna. Yet Kumbhakarna didn't take anything as seriously. By the time Kumbhakarna came towards this Vanara Rishabha, Kumbhakarna with his arms caught Rishabha within his arms, not embraced, but tightly within him, and started crushing Rishabha. And he was being so hardly pressed by Kumbhakarna's arm. There's a story in Mahabharata also. I'm just drawing parallels so we can imagine. After the Mahabharata war was over, Dhritarashtra is sitting very sad that all of his sons are being killed. At that time, and my narration may have some variation. I'm recalling, so I don't have the very accurate narration, but in general, the storyline that when the Pandavas came along with Sri Krishna to see Dhritarashtra, he had heard from Sanjaya all the fight that had happened, and he heard how Bhima had killed Duryodhana. So Dhritarashtra said, "Oh, Yudhishthira, you're here. Oh, Bhima, where are you? Please come. I want to give you a hug." And Bhima, about to step towards Dhritarashtra, Krishna stopped him. and moved an iron statue towards Dhritarashtra. And when the iron statue came, Dhritarashtra embraced that iron statue, but embraced it so tightly out of anger for Bhima having killed Duryodhana that the entire statue crushed and became pieces. That's how strong Dhritarashtra was. Bhima could have been crushed. Hmm? So, like this, Rishabha is being crushed, tightened. This is like Yashodanandan's embrace. That Rishabha uh, fell down and started vomiting blood. I mean, these are all mighty monkeys, not some skinny guys. Then Sharabha was hit by a punch from Kumbhakarna, and Neela got kicked by Kumbhakarna with his knee. And then he slapped Gavaksha. I mean, this is all happening at the same time. So Kumbhakarna is crushing Rishabha, punching Neela, uh, uh, hitting Neela with his knee, slapping Gavaksha, and then he kicked Gandhamadana with anger. And they were all being so agonized by these kinds of punches and kicks that they all fell down unconscious on the ground, vomiting, emitting blood, and their entire bodies were covered in blood. Datta pravahar vyatita muhurmuhu, shonita ukshita, vomiting blood. Nipetuste tu medinyam. Nipeta, they all fell down on the ground. Medinyam, Nikruta eva Kimshuka. So Kimshuka trees, the red color, they all looked like mighty Kimshuka trees decorated in full blossom of red. Hmm? Then, as all these leaders are being crushed by Kumbhakarna, thousands of monkeys started rushing towards Kumbhakarna. And what did they do? They thought attacking one by one is not going to work. So they all attacked Kumbhakarna together. So some of them climbed on him, some of them jumped on him. They were running up as if they're climbing a mountain. Uh, and they started attacking Kumbhakarna with their arms, nails, and teeth, because that's all they had, and their fists. And so now suddenly thousands of monkeys have covered Kumbhakarna. Imagine being covered by many ants or bugs at the same time. And Kumbhakarna looked like a mountain that is full of trees, like so Valmiki says. Then tightly holding these monkeys, Kumbhakarna is trying to move them away from his body. And then as he's moving them, he's just opening his mouth and putting the monkeys into his mouth. And his mouth, Valmiki says, looked like the caves in Patala Loka. He's so big. So one by one, as he's pushing the monkeys into his mouth, some of them are coming out of his nostrils. Yeah, I'm not making it up. Prakshipta Kumbhakarnena Vaktare, Patala Sannibhe. Prakshipta, he's throwing them into his mouth. Kumbhakarnena Vaktare, into his mouth. Patala Sanniba. Those like his mouth looked like Patala. Nasaputabhyam Sanjagmuhu. Some came out of the nostrils back. Kumbhakarnam Chaiva Vanaraha. Of his nostrils, they were coming out. And constantly he was breaking their limbs, cutting their heads off, eating them away, crushing them. The whole thing looked so deadly and ghastly. So this is part of what we call uh, ghora rasa. The blood that is being discussed has such a ghastly scene. The entire earth there was covered with blood and flesh. And Kumbhakarna looked like the fire of dissolution, that one by one, Kalagnir iva murchitaha, Hari Sainyeshu Kalagniva Murchita. As he was Chachara, walking through the monkey army, and one by one, not just one by one, in groups and thousands of clusters, the monkeys were falling dead. And he was carrying his spike, so he looked like Yamaraj with the noose of death. So he was just consuming the entire monkey army. So what does one do when one is in such distress? The monkeys are fighting Kumbhakarna, but they are not able to overcome him. So they all turned and ran to Sri Ramachandra for shelter. Hmm. Uh, Angada felt very sad. Oh, my entire army is running back. So what Angada did, picked up a mountain peak, roared loudly, and that mountain peak, he crushed it on Kumbhakarna's head. Hmm. And when that mountain peak hit Kumbhakarna, Kumbhakarna got even angrier. Hmm. And then he said, make a loud roar noise, and ran with great speed towards Angada and threw his spear at Angada. Now, when the spear was coming towards Angada, Angada also dodged it, then jumped up in the sky, and with his fist punched Kumbhakarna. A mighty blow on Kumbhakarna's chest. Uh, and this is the first time that that punch was so strong and formidable that Kumbhakarna fainted. You imagine how strong Angada must be. And Angada is still a young prince, you know, but he's the leader, and he got so angry with Kumbhakarna, got all of his strength and punched him so hard that Kumbhakarna, that giant, fainted. Uh, but Kumbhakarna came back to his senses, doubled his fist, and gave a backhand hit to Angada. And now Angada fell down unconscious. When Angada fell unconscious, Kumbhakarna picked up his spear and now he rushed towards Sugriva. You can imagine, one by one, he is crushing the Vanara army. When Sugriva saw Kumbhakarna coming towards him, Sugriva jumped up in the air, picked up a mighty mountain. So we're going to Sri Lanka. I wonder how many mountain peaks there are and where they are fighting. It's full of mountain ranges. Seems like they were fighting there. Because Lanka was standing on top of the Trikuta, so there must be a lot of mountains there. Um, and Sugriva and Kumbhakarna started fighting. Seeing Kumbhakarna standing there, eating away, crushing, breaking all the monkeys, Sugriva told him, you have fought really well. Hmm? Patitascha tvaya veera. O hero Kumbhakarna, Krutam karma sudushkaram. You've accomplished a very, very difficult task, almost impossible activity. Bhakshitani cha sainyani praptam te paramam yashaha. Hmm? You have been eating away my army. So you've accomplished a great task. Huh? But why are you playing and fighting with the small fellows? Hmm? माँ का दूध पिया है तो fight with me, as they say in the movies. Fight with me. त्यज तद वानरानिकम प्राप्ते ही प्राकृते ही. Prakrite means chota. You're fighting with the small guys. Hmm? Come, if you are worthy of your strength, fight with me. So as soon as they said like this, uh, Kumbhakarna told Sugriva, you are the descendant coming from Lord Brahma, the son of Riksharaja. Riksharaja came from the yawning of Brahma, apparently. Hmm? So, monkey, how much ever you want to roar, you roar. It will be a great challenge to fight with you. So then Sugriva threw a mountain peak at Kumbhakarna. But when that mountain hit Kumbhakarna's chest, it all broke into pieces. And all the monkeys felt shocked. Why even Sugriva's throw of the mountain peak at Kumbhakarna did not do anything? And on the other side, the Rakshasas thundered with joy. So there's yelling and shouting happening on both sides. One time these are crying, they are crying and they're yelling loudly, shouting war cries. You can imagine the cacophony of sounds there. And when the mountain peak hit Kumbhakarna, he started roaring even more loudly. Hmm? And then he threw his spear on Sugriva as if to kill Sugriva. Um, Yet, at that time, tat Kumbhakarnasya bhuja pranunnam shulam shitam kanchana dhamayishtam. His spear looked blazing like gold. Kshipram, quickly, samutpatya nigruhya dorbhyam bhavanja vegena suto anilasya cha. Now, this is time Hanuman. Hmm? Uh, when he was throwing that spear, Hanuman caught that and the arm of Kumbhakarna. And when that spear was, because this spear is destroying so many Vanaras, and he was throwing it at Sugriva, Hanuman caught it and in front of the entire army broke Kumbhakarna's spear. Uh, how did he do it? With his knee. You know how you break a bamboo, you put it, hold it in your hand with your knee and you break it? So then, and the weight of it was 1,000 bharas. 1,000 bharas. About, I don't know, he says quintals. I don't know, that's about a half a ton, I think. So 1.25 quintals is what this is. So heavy, heavy pike. Hanuman just joyfully broke it. Hrashtaha, tada hrashtaha plavangamaha bhavanja. When the spear was broken like that by Hanuman, all the monkeys suddenly got new strength. And now this time the monkeys have to roar and shout, and they suddenly started coming in from all directions to fight with Kumbhakarna. Monkeys became so happy. They started clapping and singing songs of glory of Hanuman that he caught the spear and broke it down. Imagine if his weapon that was so formidable got broken. On this side, Kumbhakarna became so angry, he got into a fit of rage. Kumbhakarna now, like the Vanara Sena, picked up a mountain peak, came towards Sugriva, and hit Sugriva with that mountain peak. Now, when Sugriva was hit, Sugriva fell unconscious. Now, this time the Rakshasas are roaring loudly, "Ah, Kumbhakarna." So it's like a match. Every time one hits the other, the supporters are loudly shouting and cheering. Uh, when Sugriva fell down like that, uh, then Kumbhakarna came, picked up Sugriva, and held him in his armpit. Now, previously, Vali had held Ravana in his armpit. So this time, Kumbhakarna caught Sugriva and is going back towards Lanka. Now imagine, he's the king of the Vanara, like in a game of chess. If you topple the king, game over. So now he's dragging Sugriva back. So when they see like that, I mean, they're also mighty, large in size. It looked like Mount Meru. So then Kumbhakarna, as he's walking back, everyone's shocked. They don't know what to do. They thought Sugriva got killed. And they all assumed if Sugriva gets killed, then there is no war anymore. How will Ramachandra fight the Rakshasas? Once the king is gone, we are all done. Then Hanuman, looking at this scene, he starts considering, what should I do? My lord and master Sugriva, the leader of our army, is being dragged by Kumbhakarna. What is the right thing I should do at this point? Kim kartavyam maya bhavit. Now that he's being taken away like that. And then he said, I think I should do what is the right thing here. So this is a good teaching, and I'll explain the teaching in a moment. They said, here's what I can do. I can grow into a size bigger than Kumbhakarna and crush him and kill him. Hmm? When Kumbhakarna gets killed and his body will be shattered just by my punch because that is my strength, of course, the monkeys will feel rejoiced like anything. They'll all become very, very happy. Or I should wait for Sugriva to regain his consciousness, even if he's captured. Uh, but he's so strong that he can fight the Devas, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Nagas, whoever. Hmm, Uh, he may fight Kumbhakarna and do what is good for himself. But what will happen is if I kill Kumbhakarna, Sugriva's greatness will become diminished. Mayate mokshitasya Sugrivasya mahatmana apritischa bhavet kashta kirtir nashascha shashvataha. For the rest of his life, his glory will diminish. That Sugriva, although the king, was rescued by someone in junior like Hanuman. It won't be good for Sugriva. This was so thoughtful. Of course, his heart is to go jump in to save Sugriva, but then he considers, I may save his life, but he will have to live for the rest of his life with this cloud hanging over his head that he could not relieve himself free from Kumbhakarna's clasp, and may his kirti nashascha shashvataha, his kirti will become destroyed. So Hanuman said, I will wait. I will not jump into this. I will wait for Sugriva to regain his consciousness, and he's capable enough to fight Kumbhakarna. Meanwhile, I will go and motivate all the monkeys who may be feeling dejected that our king has been taken away by Kumbhakarna. Thinking like that, Hanuman uh, somehow gathered the army, made them feel strong, and inspired to continue the fighting. Meanwhile, Kumbhakarna is taking Sugriva inside Lanka, and each Lanka buildings are all tall skyscrapers. It's a seven-storied building. So each of their ceilings, you shouldn't imagine our ceilings. Recently, someone was saying that in Valmiki Ramayana, the height of Kumbhakarna is described as 600 bow lengths. We discussed last time. That's poetic exaggeration. That's not poetic exaggeration. These guys are very big. What is exaggeration is in one imagined the picture he said, oh, if Kumbhakarna is so tall, imagine how tall the ceilings have to be and how can others interact with him. No, Kumbhakarna is very big and mighty. Valmiki cannot exaggerate. Part of it is Lord Brahma told Valmiki that there will not anritasya na. There will not be anything that is not factual, or there would not even be one akshara that is misplaced or wrongly placed. You will not speak anything except the truth. So we shouldn't take it too much as, oh, this is an exaggeration just to show how tall he is. He's giving us the exact measurement, 600 bow lengths. So as Kumbhakarna is entering Lanka, the residents of Lanka are receiving their hero, and he has Sugriva in his armpit. They were showering him with grains, paddy, scented water. Hmm? And the king's highway, Rajpath, is being decorated as Sugriva is being dragged into Lanka. Meanwhile, Sugriva regains his consciousness. Hmm? And he sees, I'm in Lanka. Uh, so Sugriva considers, how is it possible? एवं गृहीतेन कथं नु नाम शक्यं मया sampratikartum adya. How is it possible that this Rakshasa can just hold me like that? Tatha karishyami yatha harinam bhavishyatishtam cha hitam cha karyam. Hmm? So I will do act in such a way that it will be agreeable and advantageous to the monkey army. And suddenly, with the sharp nails, Sugriva scratched Kumbhakarna at the lower end of his ears, hmm, bit of Kumbhakarna's nose with his teeth, and with his sides opened up Kumbhakarna's flesh. All so quickly. You've seen how deft the monkeys are. Their forearms and the legs are not like legs, like the way we have toes. They have the thumbs also. So they can grab with their feet and with their hands. We can't grab with our feet. So, in a very quick movement, as if all three at the same time, Sugriva bit off Kumbhakarna's ear, scratched his ears, cut off, bit off his nose, and opened the side of Kumbhakarna with his nails and toes, the nails of his toes. Kumbhakarna became so angry that, as a reflex, uh, that he crushed Sugriva onto the ground and started pounding him and, and crushing Sugriva to the ground. So Sugriva's body was being chafed by the ground, but Sugriva immediately bounced up in the air like a ball and immediately jumped back to where Sri Ramachandra is after hurting Kumbhakarna so badly. So then what happened is Kumbhakarna, his name is Kumbhakarna. That means his ears are big. So this lower flesh of his ears, for both his ears, were gone. Hmm. But still, Kumbhakarna standing, shining like anything. Uh, but with the scratching or the removing of the flesh from the sides, Kumbhakarna started vomiting blood. Hmm. Then Kumbhakarna became angry, turned around, went back, and now started eating double the quantity of Vanaras because they have to show Sugriva. So he started walking right deep into the monkey army. And as if he was hungry, began to eat away monkeys one after the other. This time he didn't even care. He grabbed even larger uh, groups of monkeys and stuffed them into his mouth. And they were all, from his mouth was coming streams of blood as he's crushing into the monkeys. And they were one after the other, one after the other. And then they all ran back towards Sri Ramachandra because whoever somehow got saved, they were not in the catch of Kumbhakarna, ran, ran to Sri Ramachandra, saying, Ramachandra, he's devouring all of us. Please do something. Now, this is the time when Lakshmana will come into fighting. But I think we're out of time. Yeah, it's 45 minutes. So next time, we will see Lakshmana's fighting with Kumbhakarna. And after Lakshmana's fighting, Sri Ramachandra faces off with Kumbhakarna. So this chapter is a very long chapter. We have covered in my narration so far about 99 verses. This chapter has far more than that. It has 177 verses. So another 78 verses to go to find the fight of Lakshmana fighting with Kumbhakarna, then Sri Ramachandra fighting with Kumbhakarna. Anyway, the good news is Ramachandra kills Kumbhakarna. We should know that. But next week we will see how this fight concludes and how Sri Ramachandra is victorious over Kumbhakarna. Meanwhile, let's see if there are any questions or thoughts, any reflections you want to make. I mean, there isn't much lessons part, but mostly narration. But if you have something, I'd love to hear. Do you have something?
I have
1 second. There's a question here.
I have a question. All those monkeys were
Krishna
eaten.
Prabhu.
Yeah, 1
I
second.
was just thinking when you narrated Hanuman, the way he was processing why he's not jumping in and helping. Sometimes when when I am in a difficult situation and I'm approaching devotees, I think, hey, they know exactly what to do. They know how to do. Like, I'm not at a stage where I have a consciousness that they have, and I'm approaching them. Why can't they just tell me, what to do, how to do? But yet, mm, Hanuman stopping himself from not doing things and letting Sugriva do it. Meaning the way you expressed what he was processing made a lot of sense to me. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Very thoughtful. He didn't want Sugriva to live with. Here's an important thing that when helping others, in this case, of course, Sugriva is considered superior by Hanuman as his stature as the king. But the principle that in helping someone, it is important for people to be helped in such a way that they can discover their own victories. If the victory is spoken by someone else or told, this is what you do, exactly, turn left, turn right, walk 2 steps forward, it is scripted, then they don't feel the joy of their victory. Yeah? And when they don't feel the joy of their victory, they cannot feel inspired to continue. Then they become very dependent on next time, can you tell me how many steps I should walk? But if principles are given, and here the consideration of principle is Sugriva, although is being dragged away by Kumbhakarna, for the rest of his life has to live in shame. Shame, or that his kirti will go away. That's not good for a king. So Hanuman instead went and motivated the Vanara army. But yeah, thank you. That was nice. But while you were speaking, there's a comment here. I have Shriman Ananga Mohana Prabhu says.
The question is, Kumbhakarna ate a lot of.
Kumbhakarna ate a lot of monkeys. It was not Ekadashi on that day.
He ate a lot of monkeys. The question is, later on in Ramayana, Sri Ramchandra brings them all back to life. So even the ones who were eaten by Kumbhakarna, they were also brought back to life?
It doesn't say like that specifically.
Okay.
But whosever body was on the floor, on the ground, they all got revived.
So these bodies have been consumed by him.
Yeah, so what we don't know if he was chewing and gulping them in or crushing them and spitting them out. I don't know what it is. Yeah, but assume whoever body was on the ground, they all got revived. Thanks to Hanumanji, Ramachandra asked everyone to be revived. Okay, anything else on the forum here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my full obeisances. All British Prabhupada. 2 things, Prabhu, I just want to understand. First thing, in the matter of fighting, when there is a casualties, a lot of things are going on, where there is no time to even think whether what should be done. Hanumanji was thinking whether I should help him or not. That was a little bit like, okay, because right now we're just assuming the war, and in the war situation is really intense. How can how can I understand this thing? That's the first question.
I don't think I heard maybe first of all my
Okay,
computer.
okay. Let me again, Prabhu.
Keep
And the
the
war
phone
situation is very
wherever a little farther from you. I
yeah.
could hear us clearly. Keep that phone if you're doing on the phone or
Can you
speak.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so the intensity of the war is very heavy, and
Yes.
Hanumanji was thinking what to do, whether I should help him or not.
Right.
That makes me feel like, how can I understand this thing?
Why?
Because Prabhu, the war is so intense. We just theoretically we cannot understand how is the war. But real war is that the arrows are coming from here, there, here. Everything is so much intense over there, and he has a time to even think and contemplate and introspect that okay, let him go. He can do this. I should not interfere because his fame will be defamed. That make me feel that there is no time to think in the war, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, in the ordinary person's life, no time to think.
In the
But
war.
no Javam, the strength or speediness of the mind, Manojavam, Maruta Tulya Vegam, the speed or velocity of Maruta, Buddhimatam Varishtam. Their ability is not just physical, but so this is an important lesson for us that one going through life or day to day, because life is moving fast, one may think I don't have time to think, because when we say time to think in our mind, it seems like everything has to slow down. We need our little nice slow motion stuff so we can think, and it's not like that. That the picture is like that because we may not be able to think fast, but there are people who can think fast on their feet. I know people like that who can think very fast on their feet while stuff is happening. And in this war, they're thinking. I mean, that is why they have functioning, powerful intelligence that can tell them in this situation, that's what you do. That's what you think through. You strategize while you're going through. Of
That's
course,
amazing.
you
That's
know,
amazing.
like let's take the game of tennis, just for the lack of anything else. The ball is hit with great speed and strength. While there is muscle memory that as soon as they see the ball coming in a certain way, because they've practiced so much, they automatically know what's the next shot to hit. It's the muscle memory of it. Yet, along with it is the intelligence of watching the opponent placing the ball in such a way that will be difficult for them. It's not just hitting the ball back. So that's why the game of such games are not necessarily an exhibition of strength, but also strategizing as it is happening. What to speak of war, as you said, everything is flying at them from all directions, and therefore Hanuman, Manojavam, Maruta Tulya Vegam, Buddhimatam Varishta. These are great motivators for us. And the second lesson is, however fast we think life may be hitting at us, however fast it might be, all it takes for the mind is to call the name of Sri Rama or Sri Krishna. We say Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. That orients our intelligence that everything, because Krishna moves faster than anyone else, right? Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayor athapi munipungavanam. Even with that, he can run faster than the thoughts of the greatest of rishis, therefore, he cannot come into grasp of their minds. So, if that such a shelter taking is there, then intelligence will come through.
Yes, Prabhu. Now it makes sense because when you give the example of tennis game, it makes sense because in book distribution, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to brag, but in book distribution, there is no time to think what is next. but they get so much trained up that you know the next step. Oh, the cops are coming, or the situation is not favorable. So yeah, you're right, Prabhu. Makes sense. Makes sense. War situations, the monsters get trained up. My second question. Thank you, by the way. So my second question. It's coming next week probably, but
Would
why?
you keep that phone a little away from you so I can hear you?
Yes, my second question. Did you hear what I spoke, Prabhu?
Now I can hear.
Did you hear what I spoke before?
Yes. Oh, no,
I was
I
just
heard
appreciating.
second question.
Yeah. The second question was why Kumbhakarna was so powerful that Lord Rama has to interfere to kill him. Lakshmana can do that, right?
Lakshmana could have killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's next week.
And you'll find out next week. You'll find out next week the storyline. Lakshmana can kill in one shot. Even Lakshmana doesn't even have to fight with Ravana. But they all want the glory to be with Ramachandra. But you'll see. You'll see what happens. At the same time, we also have to understand how strong and powerful Ravana and Kumbhakarna are. And they have their blessing that for 3 lifetimes they will fight with the Supreme Lord and return back. So it has to be Ramachandra. So from different angles, it should be Sri Ramachandra. We'll see next week what happens when Lakshmana fights with Kumbhakarna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Nritya Gauranga Prabhu.
This is Nritya Gauranga. Yeah. Dandavats Pranam. Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Wonderful. Yeah. Narration of the pastime. I have two questions. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. The first question is while in the war, while Hanuman is contemplating or thinking that, okay, whether I should save Sugriva or not. So he knew that Sugriva was capable of rescuing himself or even fighting with Kumbhakarna. That's why he stepped back, right? He didn't want to uh, diminish his glory if he intervenes and fights with Kumbhakarna. But in real life situations, right? If somebody is going through some difficulty, how should we interfere to help them, or should we not? Should we let them help themselves? Or where do we draw the line? Because we are not so intelligent like Hanuman to know that, yes, this person is capable of rescuing or coming out of that difficulty by himself. So I won't interfere. I will let him fight through that and then get out of the difficulty. So how can we take this lesson for ourselves? Yeah.
Well, first of all, Sugriva is Hanuman's king.
Hmm.
So that's one consideration for him. In a more general way, any help would be powerful when the other person feels empowered by, let's say, our advice or speech or suggestion or advice. If we, I'm using the word we, if we do everything for the other person, then although they may overcome that difficulty, what they will not overcome is internal strength.
Mm.
So, what, because tomorrow I may not be there, or we may not be there to help them. Then what? Hmm? For, like, say, children, we want our children to learn the idea that internally there is strength, hridaya balam. That's what we teach by example, by speech, by whatever means of instruction, that when we are not with them, either physically or not in this world anymore, they should be able to manage their life, that they can resource themselves. They feel empowered enough to face their problems. If we can solve those problems for them, for anyone, then they will, rather than becoming empowered, they will become disempowered. So our help should be in the form of empowerment. Whatever is the words, I don't know specific situations, but empowerment. That Not like this, yeah, you can do it, not that type, but the empowerment that every one of us can call on the Supreme Lord's help for intelligence, for strength, for feeling protected, whatever the words that helps them. What are the ways that you can work through this? What are your options? So people start thinking for solutions on themselves. If I say, oh, that's your problem, here's the solution. Because in the next problem will come, they don't know how to think through it. So we never give solutions. Ideally, good counselors or advisors never give solutions. It's very disempowering when you give solution. It's very empowering, although the process is a little bit more, uh, I guess, difficult. People become impatient. Why can't you just tell me, do this? Arjuna says, Yashreyasham nishchitam bruhitan me. Just tell me. So the same answer Krishna already told Arjuna. You see all this Kaurava army in front of you, they're already dead. As far as I'm concerned, they're already dead. But I want you to be the instrument that makes it happen. So you feel empowered. Krishna empowered Arjuna to fight to be an instrument. So what is the line? The line is that you don't solve problems. You don't give solutions. I mean, small things you give solutions, but we have to be able to recognize which is big, which is small. Should I eat roti or rice? Let me see how to empower you. But when a person makes their choices, they feel very empowered, especially children. And as they go through children, the sense of autonomy, my own accomplishment, not in a, I'm scared to use words, my own accomplishment. People think, oh, I did everything. Not like that. But there's a sense of achievement, actualization that I was able to take help from others and solve my problems. Hmm?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Um, I have actually two more questions. If can I ask, or do I have to wait for?
Well, let's see if someone else has any question. Okay, go ahead. Nitya Gauranga Prabhu, ask your question.
Yes. So the next question is, as Hanuman was contemplating, right, whether to make myself huge in size and give a punch, or try to fight with Kumbhakarna. And he was Hanuman was quite capable of increasing his size bigger than Kumbhakarna and finishing him off. So he didn't do that. Yeah,
Yeah, why didn't he do it in the first place?
I mean to because he wanted, as you mentioned earlier, he wanted Lord Ramchandra to get the glory, right, of killing Kumbhakarna. And also I believe earlier you also mentioned that even Lakshmana could have killed him, but Lakshmana didn't, but he wanted to keep the glory for Lord Ramchandra. So my question here is, um, what about Angada and Sugriva? Were they also in the same mindset that we should keep the glory for Lord Ramchandra, or were they not really capable of address killing
Sir,
Kumbhakarna? What's that?
these are derivative realizations that's what they're considering. But at the time of fighting, like Paramakaruna Prabhu was saying, it's just happening too fast. And Rama and Lakshmana are considered human. Although Ramachandra tells Sugriva before the war, Angulya Agrena, with the tip of my finger, I can not just finish the Rakshasas, but I can finish the Devas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Kimpurushas, everybody without moving a step from here, just from the tip of my finger. So, what can Vibhishana threaten me with, or what will Ravana do?
Mm,
But when the war is happening, things are moving fast. And they're all fighting. It's not like Hanuman did not punch Kumbhakarna, right? Kumbhakarna also hit back. So when we hear this narration, we have to hear it as if we are in the battle, and one things are moving fast, Two, Kumbhakarna is very, very strong. You will only, let's say if Kumbhakarna is a tiny, insignificant fellow, and if Ramachandra kills them, then how will our hero find his greatness? So you have
Mm,
the greatness of the villain and then the greatness of the hero.
mm,
He's our Nayaka, the hero of the story. So for the hero of the story to shine, you have to shine the villain also.
mm,
Strength of Indrajit, the strength of Ravana, the strength of Kumbhakarna. And then when Ramachandra kills, like, whoa, what an achievement, right?
mm,
So in this Kavyam, while that is also there, he is, what we have to observe is Hanuman being so strong was punched by Kumbhakarna. Sugriva, who's also very, very strong, mighty. Sugriva once, when Vali was chasing him, circled the entire earth, so strong, got knocked out by Kumbhakarna. So what the conclusion is, how strong is Kumbhakarna?
mm,
That's sort of the build up for how you relish this narration, that these are the greatest people and Kumbhakarna is showing strength. First lesson. Second, in life, it is not always strength that wins. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Life is a full mixture of victory and loss, gain and defeat, victory and defeat, gain and loss, good and bad, hot and sweet. You can't predict. And you have to take the entire mixture as life. Otherwise, one will feel very disappointed. Why is it like this? It is always a mix, always a mix. And
mm.
therefore, Krishna says, be tolerant. What will come will go. Next will come and go. Happiness will come and go. Distress will come and go. That is life. Tam sthiti kshasva bharata. Just go through life tolerating as they'll come and go, come and go. Hmm?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah.
Very mighty.
And yeah.
Kumbhakarna is strong. In this time, Kumbhakarna seems stronger. But you saw what Sugriva did
Mm,
very quickly in such a deft manner. They're all way we see it is all their strength they are gaining from their desire to serve Sri Ramachandra.
mm,
Individual strength is strength, but that individual strength, when dovetailed in service, is stronger. It's not individual. We hear them in context with Ramakarya, as they call it, on behalf of Sri Ramachandra. Their strengths are all fascinating. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. My last question, Prabhu.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
another?
Yeah.
Great.
Last question.
Others want to log out, you're welcome to log out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to picturize when you said Kumbhakarna is 600 bow lengths. And in the previous lecture, you said, what is a bow length? It is even taller than one person,
Yeah.
right? Even if you take approximately one bow length is to the height of a person. And in my assumption, right, Sugriva was one bow length height. I mean, I could be wrong, and I don't know. But then we're just trying to comprehend or picturize this.
One,
Yeah.
he was one bow length height, but how big is that bow? We don't know. So first of all, that okay, even if he's small, in front of Kumbhakarna, okay.
Like trying to picturize this, like 600 bow lengths height of Kumbhakarna trying to hold one bow length of Sugriva. It's like very tiny, tiny piece. And then how did Sugriva also had the power to manifest his size like Hanuman, become bigger, or is that
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Otherwise, in that logic, one bow length worth Sugriva punching Kumbhakarna on the chest and fellow losing consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Our villain is very strong.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, let's end here. Thank you for patiently being with us until we meet again next week to see how the story unfolds. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji ki jai.
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 Jai.